You think you know me.
All right, welcome to the third episode of season 3 of the Jumping the Rail podcast. Minders, you like that little edit to
I
the
was like,
intro
I got
there?
all excited. I thought we were going to get the rest of it too. And I was like, okay,
Can't
no,
afford the rest of it.
that's right. He owns
I do.
it. So,
I do not own the rights to Metalingus.
yeah. That was made just for him. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Actually, the band that does
Alter
that
Bridge.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, gave him rights to it. So,
Well,
yeah,
I'll be darned. I'll be
that's
darned.
the whole reason that it left WWE and went to AEW
I
because
see.
he owns it, not them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So,
Well, with that said, we've started on a tangent. Usually we have a few minutes before we get into one.
well, how
This is
about you
Mark.
explain who our person is? Yeah,
All
explain
right.
who we are.
Let me go
I
through the
wasn't sure who
preamble
that
here.
was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is Mark Redman coming to you with the Noodles position in Champaign, Illinois. Joined as always by my buddy Menders, and yeah, we had to start with the Tin Bells. One of the legends of women's wrestling, Joyce Grable, passed away this past week. I honestly don't know a whole lot about her. I know she was a big deal in the '70s and in the '80s, that kind of that MUA era. But
Hmm.
she was getting a lot of love on the socials this week. A lot of tributes. So I figured we ought to chime in. So, no pun intended with the bells, but uh,
Right.
but R.I.P. Joyce Grable. So I just wanted to get that out of the way early. We got a pretty exciting show today, Menders. I don't know if you know this, but we got to talk about Wrestle Dream a little bit. AEW.
Oh
If it wasn't
boy.
evident by the opening, we got one of your faves showed up. One of our Hall of Famers debuted for AEW on Sunday. One Adam Copeland, which I wish he would have gone with Sexton Hardcastle. For
Right?
Adam Copeland, number one, there's too many Adams in AEW.
Yes.
Number two,
Did have you seen the meme of
which one?
Roddy walking
Roddy.
out on
Oh yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, did you send it to me? I have
Yeah, I
so
sent
many
that to you
people that
guys.
send me wrestling stuff that I'm never sure who it is. But yeah,
But yeah,
all you see is Roddy yelling Adam, and it's like, well, there's Adam Cole, Adam Page, now there's Adam Copeland. Come
right.
on, people.
Yeah, and Adam Copeland is a fine name for a fella, but for a wrestler, it doesn't hit the ear right.
Yeah,
It's too many syllables. Adam Co. Then you're going to say the whole name, otherwise you're going to think they're talking about Adam Cole. It's
yeah. We can't even do Adam C. Dang it.
I think he copyrighted Cope.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He copyrighted a few things. Legend spelled Legend. It's a pun.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he copyrighted Iconoclast, the Rogue, and Cope, I believe, are all the
Hmm.
copyrights he's got. I still
All
think
right.
Damon Stryker or Sexton Hardcastle would have been better
Yeah.
for a name. But
So I assume that's what you messaged me about of did you see the end of AEW
yes,
on Sunday?
because
Yeah.
because you're a big edgehead,
I am
Minders.
a big edge head. I've always been an edge head.
We'll find out if you're an Adam Copeland head though.
I probably will be, although I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I'm
I'm
glad
o-
he's there. I'm okay with it. That doesn't bother me that he left.
he
I know
can
I
yeah.
said I didn't think he would, but
I didn't think he would. I thought he would just enjoy retirement. I didn't think he
yeah.
needed another company, but he did it the right way. Waited for the
Mhm.
contract to expire. He took the high road, didn't bash anybody on the way out. Uh, it's kind of no brainer for him to go in, start a thing with Christian right off the bat. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think I think he'd be a real asset for a veteran presence, assuming that the young guys listen to the veterans, which is kind of a tall order over there sometimes.
Here's the thing, though. I wonder if more of them won't pay attention to him just because of all the tag team experience and stuff that he has, especially since I feel like a lot of the era that's in now, all of them looked up. You hear a lot of
Edge and Christian, the
Hardys,
Hardys, yeah.
Dudleys, Edge and Christian. So I'm hoping,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'll tell you who was happy was FTR. Did you see the picture of them jumping up and down in the like off camera?
I sure did. I sure did. I
That, that's
figured they
that's
would
his
be.
that's his boys. They
Uh-huh.
trained they helped him train to get back in the ring in 2020.
Yeah.
So
I liked the little note he left Beth on the
I saw
on
the
the refrigerator. Went to walk the dog. Be back soon, and and down the middle it says B AEW A.
uh,
I was like, all right.
oh boy. But
But I don't understand why everybody's giving him such crap though. Everybody's like, oh, he's
it's
going to AEW. I'm like, you know
it's
what?
the
That's where
tribalism.
all of his friends are there though. He's got
Didn't he
FTR,
say
Christian,
didn't he
and
say his daughter wanted him to go and play
go
with
play
Uncle
with
Jay
Uncle
again?
Jay. Yep.
Yeah,
Go have fun with Uncle Jay. And I'm like,
that's friggin' adorable.
it is. Why can't they just be happy that he's
It's
doing what he loves and he's
AEW
going to end
fans are
it on his
toxic, man.
terms? And he's going to end it on his terms.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm okay with it.
yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm curious. I'll be curious to hear what he has to say tomorrow on Dynamite. Of not, it kind of makes sense for his first match to be Luchasaurus, but I don't know. I think he can. I think he can pull a good match out of Luchasaurus
Oh, I do too. And
because
I
he's been
wonder.
improving.
Yeah, he has
Lucha
been.
has been improving. So, uh, what did you think of the swerve everybody saw coming last on Sunday? Nick Wayne choosing Christian as his new daddy,
I called that what, a month and a half ago?
something like that. Yeah, AJ, our buddy AJ's in the chat. Our head researcher, tribalism is wrestling fans is crazy. The man can wrestle wherever the hell he wants to, and
Yep,
it's true.
it is.
Yep.
And he's gonna have a match that we're all gonna be okay with most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time.
Most
Yeah,
of the time.
no,
Let's
Nick
keep him off
Wayne.
ladders.
Well, yeah, can we please? Nick Wayne didn't surprise me one bit. It was a little faster than I thought it was gonna be, but I saw it coming
Yeah. His mom was kind of annoying.
a little bit. A little
I
bit.
feel bad for all the fans. She was standing up the entire show. It's like, come on, sit down during the match, lady.
We want to see two.
And she's like a 6 foot tall Amazon.
Tell you what, it's crazy.
Yes.
But and then she threw the drink in Christian's face. That was fun.
Well, yeah. Well, that she can stand up for.
Yeah.
But it's just basically teasing that something's going to happen the entire time. Anyway.
Well, and then when they stuck around for like 20 minutes after the match was actually done, I was like, wonder what else is going to happen.
Uh-huh. So aside from that, how did you just finish watching Wrestle Dream earlier today?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on the show?
I didn't get to see 0 Hour, so I haven't watched that yet. But
Okay.
whatever.
It wasn't bad from what I saw of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but Claudio and Barnett was good.
Was it? Yeah. That was
Yeah.
one I wanted to see, and I just ran out of time today.
Okay.
Let's see. FTR and Aussie Open was pretty good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
That tag team 4-way debacle. Sorry.
Guns up.
Yeah, guns up. But yeah, that was a mess. It was a mess. I didn't even watch all of it. I had to fast forward through it.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell you who impressed me?
Who?
Julia Hart. That match with Statlander was damn good.
Mm-hmm. It was. I was impressed
And,
by that one, especially with. I was like, okay, she can do something. Let's see what more we can do. Let's keep it
hmm
going. But
Yeah.
there for a while, I was beginning to question it, but because of her and
Yeah.
Anna Jay's matches and everything else, and I'm like,
Well, I think it also comes down to who she's in the ring with. The last couple matches I've seen was her and Willow, and then her and Statlander. So,
yeah,
and I think she beat Sky Blue on Rampage, but I didn't see it.
shucky darn.
Speaking of Sky Blue, her fella's going to be short a tag team partner for a while. Sounds like Mark Davis broke his wrist in that FTR match.
I wondered because when
You
they
saw him
went to go
holding it the
do
entire time.
well that, and then when he went to go do the one their crossover or whatever, and they have to
The
flip
finish.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Fletcher had to do all of it, and I was like, oh no, this is not good,
No,
because he
that's
couldn't hold
not
him
good.
at all. It was like this the
No.
entire time. I was like, uh-oh, we got
There are a couple.
problems.
Yeah, there are a couple guys. I couldn't tell if Phoenix was a work injury or if he actually got hurt and had to get taken off.
If it's not a work, that belt is now cursed too. um yeah, why? I know I said this to you guys, but why put John Moxley as a commentator? Come on.
Tony has to put him on TV somehow.
I guess.
That's his guy. Would you rather have this guy?
No, no. Yeah, I really wanted to see the 0 Hour because I heard that that Anoki's picture got knocked over.
That's what I heard. I hope it's not true. But
I hope it's not too, but
AJ, you saw 0 Hour. Did kind of give us the play-by-play on that if you can in the comments. But of all the things in front of his grandsons, and he was wearing the towel like.
speaking of, did you hear about sorry,
No, no,
Christian
go
on
ahead.
the scrum?
No.
Apparently Tony said something. He's got a point.
AJ says, I'm more amazed Mox didn't get busted open during commentary. It's
Tony had said something about Inoki and how it was a trip, like a special show just for him. And
Mhm.
Christian was watching, and he says, "Were you watching?" He's like, "Yeah, their grandpa died, or their grandfather died." And I was like, "Oh, here we go, here we go." It's like, well, I guess if you got a gimmick, stick with it. So
I think Christian's taking himself that he didn't get to work with Cody before he left.
maybe, maybe. Well, but he's going to get to work with Adam Copeland, so I'm not sure how that one's going to completely play out, just because his mom's gone too. So,
Right.
but can you imagine what the promos are going to be like? Because Jay knows so much about him, or
Mhm.
Christian. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Christian. But
Kayfabe, man. Kayfabe.
at this point with AEW, is that even a thing? I'm just
Kayfabe might as well be the chicken catering that serves the muffins.
exactly. What did you think of? Let's talk about it. Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr.
I have been waiting for that match for years, ever since Sabre was in the Cruiserweight Classic for WWE. And I was hoping, because that was when Bryan was retired, but there's always the hope that he's going to make the comeback. But I'm glad that finally happened. It was a friggin' technical wrestling clinic for sure. Uh, what I really liked in that match was at the end, Dragon won with the Psycho knee. So then Nigel's carrying on commentary. Then I think Sabre said it during the scrum that it didn't prove anything about being the best wrestler in the world because he won with the strike.
The
So
best technical
and then
wrestler.
the best technical wrestler because he won with the
Yeah.
strike. So I think Sabre said
Mhm.
he'd face him again in England or Japan.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
so that'll be maybe
I,
next year at Wembley. You never know.
I'll go for it. That match, it was a breath of fresh air for me. Like, that's the wrestling I like. It can have some flips and flops and all that, but I enjoy watching the mat wrestling.
Yeah. I love my house fights, but I love a good technical match. And AJ's chiming in a bit. I feel like this one was better in our minds than it was in real life. Like Bully Ray said, Bully Ray talking about the show on Busted Open yesterday. Everything was a little too clean and a little too technically perfect, and I didn't see much struggle. Uh, there was some struggle in there, but there could have been more. If there'd been more of a build up, I think it would have been better. But this is one. It's a dream match that got hot shotted for a pay per view. That didn't.
I
Tony,
wish they
there's
would
not a
have
lot of
built it more.
storytelling.
Yeah, I wish they would
There's
have
a
built it
story
more.
right there. Who's the best
There
in the
is.
world? Then they can. But I digress. Other than that, I thought the
Oh,
match was great. I'll tell you what my are you pantomiming a
kangaroo
kangaroo
kick.
kick?
Kangaroo kick.
I was not. I didn't like the fact that MJF defeated a credible tag team with in a handicap match. I thought that should have been when Max drops the belt.
I I don't know. I was actually okay with it. And
Well, I know you love Max though.
well, I do, but I think I was okay with it for the simple fact that he was doing it for Cole to build
Uh-huh.
that up a little bit. So, and I think those guys are going to get the Righteous are they prove themselves to me. I'd like to see them
Oh man,
try to go
they're a
after
hell of a team.
FTR now more.
I've always
So,
liked I've always liked Vincent. He's always been really talented. He was with the Taven back in the day in Ring of Honor. So
yeah. But
uh,
I would say I mean it's not I wasn't real upset by it, but it was pretty much what I figured it was going to be. So,
yeah. Well, hey Menders, what do you say we bring our guest in?
okay.
We forgot to bury the lead, but we do have an interview for this episode. We're very excited about. So say hello to former ECW World Heavyweight Champion and I believe two-time Tag Team Champion Justin Credible. How are you, sir?
How are you doing, man? Good to be here.
Oh, we
Hi.
appreciate you coming on with us.
We've
It's
been
my pleasure.
excited about this for 2 weeks.
Oh, right on. I'm sorry I was a little late. I had some, life happens, and I got stuck at my regular job for a little bit longer than I had intended. So my apologies to the show.
Oh no, no
Believe me,
worries.
it
Like I
happens
said,
to
we're
us
good
all
at
the time.
yeah, we're good at killing time. We got a co-host that's going to be a little tardy also for the same reasons. So
Oh, right on.
hopefully
Very
he'll be
cool.
jumping in here before too long. Where are we talking to you from? Are you still in the Northeast?
I am. I'm in Waterbury, Connecticut. Born and raised here. Lived here for pretty much my whole life. I had purchased a home in New Jersey in like the 2000s, but for a couple of years where my mother-in-law and my wife are from. But back in good old Connecticut, which is, in some ways a gift and a curse. The gift was that's kind of how I got my job with the WWE at such an early age. That had a lot of direct correlation to it. So that's obviously a gift. But yeah, just blue collar guy. Just regular Northeast dude, man. Just kind of got lucky. Was in the right place at the right time and the right nationality because they were looking for a Portuguese guy. And again, all the stars kind of aligned. I'm Portuguese. I live in Connecticut. They were looking for a Portuguese guy that was local, and there popped Aldo Montoya and started my career. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Is it true that they wanted Aldo to be a soccer player originally?
It certainly was. And I wish, God, it's got to be somewhere. Maybe I have it in storage. The very similar to the Stone Cold story. I'm sure you've heard like Steve saying like all the names they pitched him, like the funny
Uh-huh.
Stone Cold names. You've seen
Yeah.
that?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
It
like
was
Chili
something similar like
McFreeze and
that for me. They had different gimmicks, different names. That was just what they were doing back then. You know what I mean? So yeah, Aldo at first was a soccer player, and I was so young. You got to understand, I was like 22, 20, yeah, 22, 23, and like they're throwing this shit at me, and I'm like, I don't want to say no to anything. I'm frightened,
right.
So I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, Aldo is Italian. Montoya is Spanish. It's nothing close to Portuguese, but whatever, dude. I'll just, you know what I'm saying? I'll say whatever. I'll say whatever you want me to say. Be whatever you want me to be. But it was, it's kind of where it was. But it all worked out. I mean, it ended up being for what it was. I got some great experience. Wrestled some amazing people and actually did some pretty cool shit. If you think about it. So, it was a good start.
And
Go ahead, Mark.
I think if I remember, I think you had a win over Jarrett on TV one
I did. I
one.
did. Back in the day, we used to remember Wrestling Superstars.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
We used to tape 3 shows in one taping. So I remember getting to television, and I was on the board twice, because they literally, I mean, as corny as it can get, they would literally with pens, like ink pens, and write it up. Aldo versus Jarrett, and Aldo was circled. That's how you found out, and
oh
who your
wow,
agent was, what they call today producers. And then I saw my name in the third hour, which was week 3, Jared over Aldo, whatever. But it was like, yeah, week 1 was the non-titled match for the IC belt that I won, thanks to, rest in peace, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. He
right,
played some interference, and I got the victory, which then led to week 2 of like some promos, like the week promos, like those
oh yeah,
30-second little gimmicks you did on Saturday mornings, and then
yeah. The little
the
inset thing in the corner.
yeah, and then of
Yeah,
course, week 3 was the big title match, which I lost, of course, but nonetheless, I mean, again, for a kid, and with his, if you think about it, 2 years in the business at that time, 2.5, that's not a bad start. I was so grateful to just be playing with these guys, not playing, I mean, interacting,
yeah.
working with these guys. I mean, it was like so cool. So it was a lot of fun. Those days are so golden to me because it really embodied what wrestling was and should. Well, not saying should be, what it, in my mind, what it could be or should be. It was just so cool. So much nostalgia and cool stuff. So I was blessed, bro, in so many ways.
Yeah. You talked about, you mentioned Scott Hall, and I know he had a big part in your run in the
Yeah.
WWF. How important was he to like your progression when you were in WWF?
Well, very, but in many ways. Real, and I'm not going to go too quick because it's actually a really nice story. The first time I got booked on when I just got signed, and I got booked on a string of house shows for the first time I'm on the road. And they WWE, they fly you out to whichever airport you're going to, and then once you get to the airport, you rent a car, or you get together with a couple of your buddies and you split rental expenses. At that time, I didn't know anybody in the locker room, and I was also too young to rent a car.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so the first night, I think we were in Ohio somewhere. I think Dayton, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it was Dayton. I drove to the building with Rene Goulet, Tony Gurria, and Chief Jay Strongbow. They were the agents, aka today producers.
Right.
They were in charge, right? And I get to the building. I'm working. I think the Brooklyn Brawler or something. I was supposed to go over. Just an opening match kind of thing. But
Mhm.
very happy. Stoked to be there. Of course, still would be stoked to do it. But anyways, and when I'm doing the show, I'm done with the show. Razor comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, yo, puss, Who'd you ride with?" I'm like, "Well, I rode with Gurria and Goulet. And by the way, Rene Goulet, God rest his soul, Tony Gurria still alive, and Chief, God rest his soul. They were awesome dudes. Point is, you don't want to drive with the office because you look like a stooge, right?"
Right. Hmm.
And that's exactly what he said. He goes, "Bro, you're gonna get so much heat with the boys if you're driving with the office. You're gonna look like you're sucking Vince's dick. Come with me." And I was like, "Okay." And of course, I'm a fan of Scott. Before I knew him. But when you agreed to that, you also agreed to everything that goes with Scott. And I know you can imagine it all. I'm sure you've seen it and heard it all. And that's what it became, for better or for worse. But that, um, me and X Pac were kind of like the guys that became Chief. Chief used to call us Chief J Strongbow. the caboose, because we were on the train and we were the last ones there, kind of like helping him out, So I was part of the Scott Hall caboose there, the train,
Yeah.
and again, I'm blessed to have known him. He helped me in many ways, but not always good though to get that kind of heat. I had heat either way, so.
Right.
Go
Mindy, you
ahead.
got something?
Nah,
okay.
I'm good right now. You're
Okay.
leading the way on this
Well,
one. So
I'm gonna kind of jump around a little bit. Just we're rarely organized on this show. It's just it's really just talking wrestling. So jumping ahead, because when I first really became aware of you, I knew Aldo Montoya, but it wasn't until after you showed up in ECW that I realized that you were Aldo Montoya previously.
Gotcha.
So I really got to know you as Just Incredible in the late 90s.
Right on.
So Joey Styles used to always say that you were trained by Lance Storm, and I always thought that was just a storyline thing for the Impact players. I didn't realize you actually did train with the Hearts in Calgary.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'll get through this one pretty quickly. Well, again, I don't have to. I always feel like I'm in a rush, but in 91, 92, I graduated high school in 91, and then I didn't elect to go to college. And in 92, I back then, there wasn't the, obviously no internet or whatever. It wasn't what it is today. For me, you didn't just pro wrestling school, stored on Google, whatever. I was literally working at a grocery store as like one of the bag boys, like, you know what I mean? Like pushing carts and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And on my break, there was, we had magazines, but I'm sure there's still magazines, but not like it used to be. On my break, I take my 15-minute break with you get a bag of Doritos, a Coke, and you're reading the wrestling magazines. And in the back of one of the wrestling magazines, it said, "Want to be a pro wrestler? Dare to be great" was the slogan. And it was a name and number for the Hart Brothers Pro Wrestling Camp in Calgary. And it had an actual number on the bottom. And I was like, oh my God, it was mind blowing. So I literally, I ripped the page out of the magazine, which I still owe Stop and Shop for that. But anyways, whatever.
I won't tell.
It was
we
the
won't
90s.
tell.
It was the 90s. We got away with it. But anyways, I got home. I called that number a couple days. I had the balls to call the number, and I spoke to Keith Hart. No, I'm lying. I spoke to Bruce Hart. Not intentionally lying, but I spoke to Bruce Hart at first. And he gave me the spiel on the Hart Brothers camp. And he said, if you're serious, save up $3,000 and blah, blah, blah. So a couple of months go by. I call again, and I speak to a man named Ed Langley, who ended up being very integral because he was running the camp for the Harts, for Bruce and Keith Hart, who were the elder Harts at the time. And, I literally worked all summer to save up $3,000, and went there on a wing and a prayer to be a pro wrestler, and that's how it started. But Lance was there, and him and Jericho, as a matter of fact, were there a year before, same exact camp. You know what I'm saying? So they were kind of like the elder students that were helping. You know how wrestling schools can do it today, where you got the guys that graduate and then they help train whomever. Jericho and Lance were the guys that had come through, so they did a lot of put it this way, Lance trained me more than the Harts. But you're not going to say at that time, especially, you're not going to say Lance Storm trained me.
Right.
I paid $3,000 fucking dollars. I was trained by the Harts, goddamn it. And,
Exactly.
and Keith Hart did bump me around once a week, so I was trained by the Harts, and I did live in Calgary for the better part of 6 months. So fuck yeah, I went to the Hearts, brother, and I did. That's a shoot. But and that's how our relationship started. And the funny thing is, and I don't say this enough, and I know Lance has said it a couple times. When I was doing good in the WWE, because I got signed as Aldo, back then you didn't have no cell phones and whatever. Sometimes you get a guy's number and then the number doesn't work anymore, whatever. Lance Storm had gotten through to me somehow we misstepped after a couple of years. I was doing the Aldo gig, and something happened. But anyways, Cornette got to me because I had a jacket made. I was so proud of being from Calgary. I had the name of the indie fed back then in Calgary was called Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling, and I was such a mark that I had because I love the Japanese sweat jacket, kind of like,
Oh,
you know how they all look like
Yep.
uniform.
Oh, yeah.
How Cody and the guys did it like 5 years ago, like looking
Yeah.
sharp and shit. So I got a Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling jacket that said PJ Walker. So I'm doing Aldo then, and I'm in WWE TV, and Cornette stops me. He goes, PJ. He goes, I said, yeah. I said, Rocky Mountain Wrestling. I'm like, yeah, I was in Calgary. He goes, really? He goes, do you know Lance Storm? So I got Cornette and Storm hooked up for them to go do the Thrill Seekers in
wow.
Cornette's Federation in Smoky Mountain, which then in turn, so there's a lot of cool little connections here and there where we've helped one another out. It's
wow.
really neat, actually. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know that, so maybe we broke this one on the show.
Yeah, I never knew that.
No,
I mean,
I'm
Dude,
a
I have
huge
so much
Cornette
shit. I
fan,
have so
too.
much shit in my brain that I don't even think about or process. Sometimes it just takes conversation to kind of like, oh yeah, shit, that happened. Not that I'm dumb or silly. It's just that
No.
you do so much, you forget a
Right.
lot of it.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how that started too.
I went on
So-
a binge watching show. I watched a bunch of your matches
I'm
past couple
sorry.
days. And no,
I'm so
you know
sorry.
what?
Why you pussy?
No, Reb had sent me a list of matches to watch, and I said, okay.
I gave her homework.
He gave me homework. Now, because I'll admit, I was never an extreme fan
Okay.
on wrestling. Wasn't my thing.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, what do I need to watch that I can handle? And he's like, okay, here you go. So I ended up the match on, what was the first one? It was Jerry Lynn.
Oh,
I know it was
wow.
versus Heatwave. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
That
was a very good.
pile driver at the end of that.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it was the
Holy
safe.
crap.
Jerry and I still talk about this. Everything about that pile driver was a complete work. I did because when I gave it to him, his head never touched anywhere near the mat. He was completely safe. And then I got up and sold my knee like I just looked. Nope. I was smart enough because I was scared to death of ECW because I'd heard a lot of the horror stories coming from WWE, and I like they don't use pads outside and stuff. So I had bought like skateboarder pad, like how skateboarders you see them do the things and they fall on their knees. Like I'm gonna get me a pair of those. So if I have to do something like that, I'll protect my knees. So I had those bad boys on. I wore them every night. And so nobody got hurt in the making of that movie. So yeah, that was just super cool and helped really to this day. People still talk about it, which is super cool. But yeah, it was totally safe. Nobody got hurt.
I think Waltman used to use those skateboarder pads too, didn't
he? He did. Yes, he did. Sean was probably the first, I think. Kid was always ahead of his time.
Right.
Sean was, I love him. He was so cool, always so good, always ahead of his time.
Yeah. I always say he kind of revitalized the junior heavyweight division in the U.S. back in that mid-90s.
He really did. And he was doing stuff that, like, if you really think about it and go back and look at history, like him, Jerry, those were the guys, man. Sabu. There's more, but, RVD. I saw something where I think it was like Jerry Lynn and X-Pac before they went to because I know they both had a run in Global, that Texas Federation down there.
Yeah.
And the Lightning Kid and the Jerry Lynn blue and the shit blue and yellow tights, they were actually matching tights because they were supposed to go down there as a tag team. I know there's a picture out there of it because I saw it recently and I'd never seen it. But they had matching tights literally for the tag team. Could you imagine a Jerry Lynn X-Pac back then, the 1, 2, 3 Kid? I mean, they were so ahead of their time. They were doing monster shit, dude. Yeah.
Getting back to Heatwave, it's probably my favorite ECW pay-per-view, just across the board. All the
Yeah,
matches on that
yeah,
show were so
yeah,
great, and you guys were the ones setting the tone because you were the first match on there.
yeah.
But then you go through the whole. You got Awesome and Tanaka. That was the first time I'd seen
Oh,
them together, and then Taz and Bigelow. Uh, the main event was insane. Uh, but along with yours, again, talking about Lance Storm, the match with Candido, and that's a guy that
yes.
I don't think gets his due as Chris Candido for being just such a fucking great wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, Chris was he was special, and we all came from. Uh, I don't think I've ever articulated this before, but it's starting to be like the more I talk to people about it, more prevalent. We came from the age of it was starting to grow outside of traditional marks, and I don't mean marks in a disrespectful way, but wrestling fans,
Right.
and it started to become a little inside baseball kind of thing, and you had guys, especially in the Northeast. Like again, I was blessed to be from the Northeast because that's where all the real good indies, and to this day you could argue, still come from. You know, the Philadelphias, the New Yorks, the Bostons, etc. And they were having those kinds of matches back in those days, in front of 200 people. You know, constantly. You know, X Pac and those guys, for many different promoters. So Pac, Waltman and Lynn, they were always on the cutting edge of doing that, you know, and that was starting to gain recognition through the sheet. That's when the sheet started to become a bigger deal. And it really grew out of a necessity of, you know, we have WWF, we're coming out of the Hogan era, and we have WCW, but at the same extent, it's not the same NWA, Ric Flair WCW. It's like a new WCW where you have Vader, Ron Simmons, Dustin Rhodes, and Brian Pillman. I mean, a lot of greats, but everybody was in a transition, and then there was the Northeast wrestling stuff, and it started to become very indie, very Japanese guys started coming over, and it was unheard of to bring a Japanese superstar over to the Northeast, which Philadelphia promoters did quite often. So it started that kind of, you know what I mean, that little thing that
Yeah.
started to happen in wrestling, and it was started up here with those guys.
We got some comments in the chat here. My buddy Gary Vastellio, he chimed in. He says, "Interrupting Dreamer's 10-bell count sticks in my head to this day." Uh, I mean, everybody talks about the Dudleys for getting heat back in ECW. You were just as bad as those guys were as far as getting heat, from what I saw.
Yeah, and I didn't. I was asked. That was Dreamer's idea.
Oh yeah.
I would never have suggested that, you know. And Tommy came to me that night, and him and his grandpa were very close, you know. And he's like, "Hey, you know, PJ, whatever." I think he took a week off or something, you know, for the services and whatnot. And Tommy came back. You know, I talked to Paul and I talked to Tommy. Tommy's like, you know, I want to do this, but I want to do this in memory of my grandfather. He would love his pitch to me was he would love it if I would use him in a, you know, his name or his thing in an angle. I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do? He goes, well, I'm going to be doing this thing and this speech, and then you just come out and just do you. And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, okay. But that being said, excuse me, I'm sorry. It was perfect. You know, I would never, again, that was all Tommy Dreamer. You know, Tommy saw the opportunity to, how could this douchebag be more of a douchebag? And, you know, and Tommy was very kind. And again, I just did what I was told. And, you know, I never stepped out of bounds or did anything that I wasn't asked to do, but it was definitely wild, and I'm still remembered for it.
Yeah. Hey, just to show how much heat you got for that, Bubba had to like calm Tommy down in the ring after that happened.
Oh,
The
Jesus.
Dudleys are in full Dudley mode, but then after that, then Bubba almost cuts a promo.
That's funny. I've never watched it. I've never watched and that's almost better because, like, I know people, dude. I get pissed off when I hear, like, I'm a huge, like, Marvel guy, so, like, I'm watching, like Robert Downey Jr. talk about Iron Man or Avengers, and I'm like, how do you not know? It's like, oh, I just shot it and then forgot about it. But it's true. Like, you don't, when you do it, you just do it that one day and you don't look back, because when I look back, it always, like, looks bad. Like, oh, I look like shit. What was I doing? I look like I have a stick up my ass. What, like, am I overacting? Am I overselling? So I don't like to look at it. As long as, like, the fans give me a good positive reinforcement, I won't go back and watch tape. So to this day, I've never seen it, but I've heard, like, it was pretty wild,
Yeah. I'm with you. I play music also, and I can't
It's
listen to
horrible, right?
myself. I can't
Isn't
watch
it
myself
horrible?
on video. Yeah,
And
you're your worst critic.
and
It's like the
people
old saying
think
goes.
people think you're full of shit too. Like, oh, you're just being, like, no, it's just, you don't want to see yourself, of all people, but yeah.
I don't like being in the room when somebody else is listening to my stuff. I have to go in the other room. So
I can understand. I'm the same way. I hate when people watch me.
oh man. There's a guy that nobody really talks about much these days, and I think he was phenomenal. Jason, your
Yeah.
manager, Jason Knight.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to pair you two up, and how important was he to your character, your progression in ECW? Just talk a little bit about Jason, if you would.
Jason was pretty much Paul. It was all Paul. I to be honest, I can't tell you what he was thinking, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I think he was just throwing the shit at the wall and seeing what stuck, honestly, because people, a lot of times we credit Heyman for, oh, he was such a genius. Dude, Paul threw so much shit at the wall, and whatever stuck, he kind of was like, I'll take credit for that one.
Right.
I'm not being a dick. That's just kind of what happened, because we were always trying to, you know what I mean? And he was just like, well, let's make his own, because, again, if you think about it, I was Aldo Montoya, a joke of a character, quite frankly, in the WWE with a jockstrap. And to get over, no, I'm just being, with the perception, right? Mm-hmm. And although I loved the career and I loved the friends and the memories and the work experience, to fans, that's what and how do we get them to care about this guy or to hate this guy or whatever? And we just started throwing shit against the wall and saw what stuck. And Jason and Paul they had gone back, I guess, many, many years. And they'd been friends for a long time, both New York City guys, both of them. So I know they, like, used to hang out. So they were buddies, kind of. There was some rumors of sex shit involved, but I won't go into that. That's neither here nor there. But they were doing some kinky shit at the clubs back in those.
Not my
Could
business.
you imagine Jason Knight not doing that shit in New York City? Come on.
I'm just trying not to imagine Paul doing that shit.
I try not to, dude. Don't even get me started. That's a whole nother podcast that I'm not willing to go to.
Yeah, we need to get a paywall for that one.
Bro, I saw him one time. I was in fucking Pittsburgh, and my wife and I we just finished a show, and Paul calls me and is like, "Yo, come to my room. Let's smoke meaning pot. Like, let's light a joint, whatever, or blunt, whatever the fucking kids call it today."
Yeah,
jazz cigarettes.
I go to his room, and my wife and I go to smoke in his room, and he enters the door with just the towel.
Oh.
Mind you, the ponytail is in full effect. And the towel, and he looks like, you ever see Batman, the second Batman, like the original, like with Danny DeVito?
Yeah,
that's him naked.
Oh.
Take a look.
Thanks for that.
Close your eyes. Think about it. Now let that process.
You're such a heel.
You're such a heel.
I'm not, though. But he's much more of a badass than I'll ever be. But it was just like, that's what hits me at the door, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we're doing this. Let's go. But anyways, I'm fucking around. I'm teasing.
Of course.
Anyway, I don't even know how we got there. It's just a funny fucking thing. Hey, he's
Hey.
doing better than I am, so
Hey,
bless his heart. Bless his heart.
yeah.
Did you see we had a question in the comments there, Mark?
Oh, I did see that. AJ has the question. Where did you come up with the name Just Incredible? Because that's genius, he says.
I did not.
Is
As a
that,
matter of fact, do you guys remember Bill Wiles, Wild Bill in
Yeah.
ECW?
Mhm.
He was the one that came up with that.
Okay.
I guess he saw it somewhere. I don't know. The legend goes that he presented it to Paul. I guess he saw it like on a bumper sticker in Jersey because he's a Jersey guy, and I know him very well. He's a good dude. He was ring crew, then he became Bilvis. Remember the Elvis gimmick?
Yeah.
ECW. He did a bunch of things. He was but he was like in ring crew. Like he was always in ECW till the end. But he had pitched it to Paul for himself. The name Justin Credible, and
okay.
I guess Paul said, I don't see that for you, but I know somebody that could use the name. So apparently, rumor has it that he had paid Bill off for said name to give it to me. Yeah, I mean, like something like $500 or something. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was the legend.
Okay.
But I did not come up with it.
Okay. Yeah, I always figured that was just Paul coming up with something off the top of his head. Like you said, just find what sticks, and the name
Yeah.
stuck, you know. But,
I mean, it could, again, though, I mean, that's the beauty of, like, and that's why people don't understand. And I think a lot of times, like when you listen to Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Kevin Nash, Hunter, a lot of stories, the Click stories. And I was, you can say I was in the Click or not in the Click, whatever, it doesn't matter. I was in a lot of those car rides, and a lot of the shit was like we were fans getting drunk, getting high, and talking wrestling, where a lot of people didn't do that in those days. Like,
Yeah.
people were just like, this is our job, like, almost like, what all right, whatever, Mark. Like, nobody's like they're thinking very old school, where we just love the business and we're throwing out ideas like, how about we try this or this crazy thing here? You know what I mean? And like, we were
Yeah.
always like, we were doing the shit. Like, nowadays, it's common ground. If you're in the business, everybody talks openly, and there's no kayfabe. Back then, it was a lot different, and I think a lot of that magic was, all these guys in a car doing hundreds and hundreds of miles, bored to death, just trying to pass the time and coming up with some pretty cool fucking stories, and that's how a lot of it went down. I was just blessed to be a fly on the wall, really.
Yeah.
Reb, you ought to tell him about since we go to a lot of indie shows here around our area. You ought to tell him about our booking sessions that we have in the car all the time.
But that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm saying,
We like
right?
to book.
But that's
Oh, yeah,
what I'm
there's
saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's having fun. It's just like, let's try this, or what if we did that? It's just it's out of loving it, and
Yeah.
coming up with some weird shit. Like, maybe there's a gem in there. Maybe there's something in there that could change the business. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it. Why not us try to? Whether you're trying or not, just try to come up with some cool shit and enjoy. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. Wrestling was never supposed to be this hard. Like, now I feel everything is so weird. Like, I know I'm not involved in it at all, like on a high level, but like, it used to not be this hard. Like, with AEW, and I know they've done some great things lately, and they've done some great things before. I mean, WWE was always the machine, but even the WWE, everything is so scripted and everything is so Hollywood. You forgot what it used to be was just, a lot of cool shit on the fly. A lot of, I love comedy. I'm a big comedy fan, and some of the best work was done improv, like improvisational.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could look at me and Steve Austin, right? And Steve, if you go, there's 2 podcasts I did with Steve Austin before it became the WWE's version, like back in the day, and we talked about literally how him and I like worked on house shows, like every night for a couple of weeks, and how he came up with kind of the Stone Cold persona. Like he's like, I'm like, Steve, what are we doing? I don't know, kid. Could be 5 minutes, could be 15. Kick stunner, and that's what we would do. This is before it was over. This was before there was the da-dum, da-dum. He was still the ringmaster. He was still the ringmaster. But we would go out there and explore the space. It sounds like a fucking Saturday Night Live skit. But we'd like explore the space and kind of see what it was going to be. And through that, it became something special. And I don't think anybody has a chance to do that these days. Just kind of enjoy, because everybody's so critical, right? You do something on Dynamite, or you do something on Raw or SmackDown or Collision, and it's all of a sudden like, oh my God, it's not going to. We had the problem is, well, not the problem, but we had a ton of house shows to fuck around with. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of the magic happened. I mean, again, I remember wrestling. Me and Steve wrestled 10 or 12 nights in a row, like straight up in a row, not one day off, in front of 2,000 people, in front of 1,500 people, some nights in front of 5,000 people, like depending on the arenas. Mm-hmm. But like, and we just every night I listened to Steve. We'd call it in the ring, but through that energy, we created some shit. I don't think a lot of guys. I mean, you could say, yeah, there's NXT, there's OVW, there's this, there's that. But it's not the same as when you have house shows for these big companies. It's a big difference, man. Let these guys go out there, or guys and gals, to go out there and just do their thing and let them explore and figure out who they are. Because you can't like replicate that shit anywhere. I don't care how hard you train. I don't care how many bumps you take. And I think that's always going to be the missing piece is wrestling. Like repetition is the mother of skill. If you do repetition with wrestling, you get better and better and better. Unfortunately, there's no repetition like there used to be when wrestlers used to be on tour for X amount of days. I know it was grueling and shit, but dude, I'd love to be on tour for 30 days, wrestling every night when I was young. Dude, it was like a fucking honor to be in every fucking cool arena in the world. Like, you know what I mean? I wish it was still today, but times have changed, but we still haven't adjusted to the what we can produce from a intellectual property, from a way of getting over. Because Steve Austin literally got over one town at a time. Because like you'd be in Boston, and then 3 months later you'd be back in Boston. So you knew the first time you were in Boston, shit, I got to try to get over. So I'm going to have a hell of a match. So when you do the return in Boston 3 months later, you know what I mean? It all, and that's it, and hence the circle starts. So then 3 months after that, so you know what I mean? It's like you're always hitting those towns. I think wrestling always depended on that from a live event perspective. So it's like when you're in New York, when you're in Philly, you got to keep coming back and you got to keep staying hot. Nowadays, it's like, we go to Philly, we take the money and run, and we won't come back for another year.
Yeah.
Right.
So that little that organic piece is missing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Long-winded answer. Sorry.
You're fine.
It's all good.
I'm trying, Doug. I'm trying.
You're doing great.
All right. So there's one thing specifically that I wanted to make sure that I asked you about, because of all the crazy shit that went down in ECW back in the day.
I didn't do it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was watching Heatwave 2000 this past weekend, and I'd seen that. I saw that show on a videotape that my friend made live, like on the live show, because I didn't have cable, so I couldn't get the pay-per-views, all that stuff. And just long story short, main event, you and Tommy, Stairway to Hell match. Before the match goes, Joey's talking about some fans getting fresh with Francine at ringside.
Yes.
I didn't put two and two together till after the WWE documentary came out that it was XPW guys trying to hijack the show. Yep. You're in the ring when this is going on. What's going through your head as you're seeing this happening?
Tommy, what are we fucking gonna do? Literally, we're doing the stare down, and he goes, Tommy, and this is how Tommy talks too. Oh fuck! I think Francine just got into it with somebody, and then I'm like, and I'm trying to be just incredible, like doing this shit, And I'm like, what are we going to do? I don't know. Hold on. And then it was what it was. It was wild. I mean, that was a real deal. But you know what, man? That's the thing. I ended up working. A lot of us ended up working for Rob Black and XPW afterwards. Both myself, Sean Waltman, a lot of the ECW guys and gals, and even recently I talked to Rob Black. So I'm not saying like he's a great individual and whatever, but it was business, and that was the time, dude. It was in some ways, for the fakest business in the world, it was real. And I know it sounds really weird, right? But like we were just and it was their way of trying to cement some credibility, maybe some, no pun intended, making an impact on pay-per-view, because people would be talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, and again, it all worked out. People shit on it because you shouldn't. Hijacking anybody's show is not cool.
Right.
But boy, they sure tried. And yeah, but it wasn't the end of the world, because really by the second spot or whatever, we had it back. But yeah, like both me and Dreamer were so happy because, and I know my memory does serve me correct here, we were at the Grand Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, California for Heatwave 2000. And that was the arena where Pat Patterson and all those greats used to sell out every other week, whatever. That was like their big, their headquarters was the Grand Olympic Auditorium. We had it sold out at like 5,000 or something people like that. And I just, man, it was such a thrill to be there. And at the end of it, like the first couple of spots after Franny and ECW security and everybody, the boys, they had that little altercation. It kind of went back to normal. Yeah. But it wasn't as good as it should have been. But I think Dreamer somewhere. Oh, I dropped my cigarette. Hold on. God damn it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, somewhere in the show, or somewhere in the match, Dreamer's climbing a ladder near the merchandise table, and I forgot the spot because I was so like weird about like what just happened. Like I threw him off the ladder to nothing. Like there was no crash, there was no tables, no nothing. It's like, I think Justin Credible just seriously tried to kill me. Like it's literally like a 15-foot drop to nothing. Because I was so like, what do I do? But it was what it was, and anyways,
I just remember seeing like Roadkill, Sal,
all those cats,
an army of ECW guys. Yeah. You don't want New Jack mad at you from everything I've heard.
Yeah.
Don't Matt. No New Jack mad at you. No.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Jack was great, man. Jack was the best.
Mark, I know you made me watch it, so can we talk about the November to Remember from '99?
Sure. Number one, that was my first. Like I said, I didn't have cable, so when we finally got TNN, it was right around the time that ECW got on TNN. Okay. So October, I get home from work. I'm working till 9. I'm also at the grocery store at the time, so I'm home at 8:30 and put ECW on, and they're recapping when the Sandman came back before November to Remember.
Yeah. That was huge.
I know it wasn't. It was the ECW arena. I remember.
Yes, it was.
And I don't know that when I'd heard it that loud in that building.
It's bro. I was in I was there. I was in the ring.
Yeah.
And to this day, I can honestly tell you, I have never heard anything, and that's the beauty of indie wrestling. That's the beauty of ECW. Like literally, in the arena is you could say it's a shithole. You could say whatever you want. I mean, it's actually a beautiful place to hold this event or these kinds of events. Now it's all refurbished. It's amazing. But bro, I felt you were like the blood is pumping in your arms and you feel it, like the roof is literally going to come off. I've been to the Garden. I've been to the Spectrum. I've been to all the cool LA Forum, you name it, I've done it. That fucking arena, man. And to that day, nothing, and I mean nothing, I felt like something like a hole was going to come through that fucking thing. It was the perfect timing, right place, right time, right in the middle of all the fucking shit that was going on. Wrestling was at its peak. You really go back and watch. I mean, the camera, the hard camera is shaking. It's not a
Yeah.
fucking work.
Yeah.
Like it's on a tripod, but the stage is like shaking. It was my heart bro, my heart was through my chest, and all I knew was Sandman is gonna cane somebody, and it's gonna be Jason fucking Knight, not me. Hence the reason for Jason, not me, motherfucker.
Then Carino's got to get one too. So,
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
a method to the madness. Yeah, I always tried to politically not get my ass whipped. But anyways, I digress.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I love that angle. Number one, Raven and Dreamer's a tag team after reading the magazines
That
for
was
years
great,
about
too.
the rivalry.
Yeah.
And I love the Impact players as the tag team. So is that something, I know, going back to your history with Lance, was that something you guys took to Paul saying we want to team up, or?
Not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
That was all just organic.
Huh.
All organic stuff, and really all Paul, because I mean, Lance and I are friendly. We're friends, but we're not like boys. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're we love each other. We know each other's family, but wrestling is weird. It's not like you're best friends with these guys. We have a working relationship, so we never had this huge thing. So Paul really orchestrated all of it, and I think again it was like, what can I do here? Again, it was nothing. Like, I don't think you could plan for that shit. It was just, what pieces do I have to play with this? Almost like fantasy football. Like, what do I have this week? I got Lance Incredible, and and it just seemed right. And again, the reason the Impact players were so cool, and I mean, this is my opinion, and again, we've never talked about this, Lance and I, but Lance was the architect, sort of the spot guy, the wrestling guy, the mechanic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I knew, and trust me, I thought in my mind, in some ways, not all, so hear me out, but I was trained by Lance, so I knew how to do everything the way Lance taught me. I was pretty damn good at the mechanics too.
Mhm.
But I saw my opportunity of, as Lance really needs the wrestling aspect, I'll be the Hollywood aspect. I'll be the crotch chop, bark, street clothes, kind of the jean short. And the reason I got the jean shorts, dude, wasn't because it was the Steve Austin or the 90s or trying to be cool. I got the ECW, and it happened so fast. Paulie's like, okay, you're wrestling. What do you got? I had my Aldo gear. So I wrestled. I wrestled. The first night, it was in Queens, New York. I wrestled with my Aldo gear, no mask.
I was going to say mask.
Portuguese tights.
Okay.
So then the second night, Paul's like, yeah, I got to change that. So I'm in Philadelphia, and I go out, and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna? You can't get wrestling gear made. I had no idea what I'm gonna be called, what I'm gonna do. So I bought leggings, like my wife wears leggings, black leggings, and jean shorts, because jean shorts were kind of like the thing in ECW. And then as I'm going out, Paul's like, wear one of these, and he throws an ECF&W shirt at me. So I was like, well, I guess this is the ECW de facto uniform. I'm going to wear the jean shorts and the ECF&W shirt, and it would all happen by accident. That's the thing that's so beautiful, is you couldn't, if you thought about it, you wouldn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You can't plan this shit. Sometimes accidents happen, or whatever happens for a reason, and it's just what it was. But there was no deep planning on any of this. It's just like, what are we doing? Okay, let's throw a shirt on them. Fuck it. And that's what happened.
Yep.
All right. Well,
am I boring you? Come on.
No, we're enjoying it.
Like I said,
I love listening to stories from the road. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's probably my favorite part of wrestling, especially like I was a big Dark Side of the Ring person watcher
Okay.
and
Okay.
that type of stuff. So it's like I enjoy hearing the things that are happening behind the scenes that we
Yeah.
didn't know of at the time.
Sure, and I know, and two, I think a lot of times I love Evan and those guys because I was on one of the episodes. I was on the plane ride from hell episode,
right.
but there's so much other positive stuff too.
Yeah.
Like I hate to always talk the negative because there were so many
Yeah.
great things that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the negative stuff. So yeah, it's been, bro, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Like wrestling is such a beautiful thing. And we're at such a renaissance right now where, I mean, who would have thought? Think about it, man. And I'm going to leave y'all with this because I know we're trying to wrap things up. But hear me out. In 2000 when I finished ECW, I wrestled ECW's last ever match. It was a pay-per-view match. I think it was like the 34th, whatever, Massacre on 34th Street.
Guilty as charged, I think it was.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I did everything at ECW, the original ECW. I main evented and finished. Then I went to WWE, thankfully. Got to team with Pac and whatever. We know how that worked out.
Yeah.
Went to, did Japan and then went back to WWE for the fake ECW. That was what it was. But then wrestling for me kind of dropped off. And still I was in, and I felt at my, I was still a young man. I had some substance abuse issues that was not helping, but certainly it wasn't that. All of it was not that. There was also a lack of, we went from ECW. Think about this. If you're a worker, if you're just a person looking for a job, right? It's 2001. You went from WWE having X amount of full-time employees, WCW and ECW. Now all of that gets gobbled up. And how many jobs do we lose with just WWE eating all of that up?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
There was hundreds of people. And I was, I was lucky to even get a lifeline, right? If you think about it. So again, I was there for the reboot and all that. But now where wrestling is, I mean, there was always Impact and Ring of Honor, but nothing really, no money. Because at the end of the day, I know you guys could say, well, it's not always about money. It is when you have a wife and kids. It is when you have a wife and kids going to college. You need real money. Yeah. So I think wrestling for a long time did not provide what I needed it to provide. So whatever. But now we're living in such a great time with Tony Khan. You could say what you will, bad or good. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. All I know is there's a lot of money being made and there's a lot of guys getting work. And that's a beautiful time. And you also do have Impact that's still around and other great, GCW, who I actually worked a show for a couple of months ago. They're doing, I mean, wrestling is kind of back right now. And it's a beautiful thing. All kinds of wrestling, all types of wrestling. So I just wish I didn't I was still, you know what I mean? Like it happened at a time where you didn't have the opportunities. Now we're back at that time where you can get a job anywhere. And if you're good, if you're talented, and it's a great thing. And I just, I'm just excited for pro wrestling right now. It's like so cool. So much good shit happening,
Yeah. Well, Reb, why don't you tell him who's going to be close to us in St. Louis at the Anarchy here in a couple weeks?
So we're out in central Illinois. Actually, Tony Khan is from Champaign, where I'm from right here. But in Anarchy in St. Louis, they're going to have Masato Tanaka coming in next week. So
right on.
That's something we're trying to make things happen where we can get down there.
Oh because yeah, dude.
He's on my short list of guys that you don't get a lot of opportunities to see in the U.S. So it's something that we very much want to try and make happen.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's a cool thing for sure.
Yeah, we just had Chavo just a couple towns over on Saturday.
Chavo right on. Chavo's the best, man. He's such a good.
I met Chavo on Saturday.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy, man. Oh,
yeah.
Good dude, great dude.
Yes.
But Again, thank you for everything. I appreciate you. I hope everything
Oh,
was cool.
Oh,
oh
you're
yeah.
great. Yeah.
There will have to be a part 2 at some point because I don't think we've even scratched the surface. But
No, we didn't. I again, there's so much. I have so much. And I wish I could. The problem is I don't think I have the proper tools to get it all out there. I wish I could do it not in a shoot series or anything like that. But man, I'd love to just have discourse with somebody and kind of get it all out there because dude, I know where. Put it this way: we used to always kid, and this is like me, Sean, and Hunter, and Scott. We used to be like, dude, I know where the bodies are buried in Stanford, and I really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do. And you can think what you want about that. I mean, nobody's dead, but
Well,
but the dirt and the cool, like all the little thing. There's got to be a place for it,
well,
And I'd
Stories
love
from
to
the
talk
road. I'm
someday.
telling you.
yeah.
Stories from the road. There needs to be something that's just stories from the road.
Yes,
Good,
ma'am.
bad, whatever. Stories
Yeah,
from the road.
for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Well, we're not going to keep you too much longer. We appreciate you making the time to hang out with us this evening. And yeah, like I said, we've just getting started. So we'll have to do a part 2 very soon, and hopefully that'll happen. But
Yeah, absolutely. I would be more than honored to come on, and we could do it anytime you guys want. So thank you very much for having me. You guys have been a blast, and I had a lot of fun. So thank you so much.
Us too.
right,
Thank you.
likewise.
Oh, it's
Thank
my
you very
pleasure,
much.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah.
Bye.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was awesome.
fun.
That was so cool.
Sorry I was so quiet, but
Oh no, it's
the
fine.
stories were great.
Oh, he was dropping some knowledge. So much stuff I didn't even know about.
Yeah, me
So,
neither.
but no. Thanks again to Justin Credible for coming on with us. He's he's added to our Mount Rushmore of guests. I think one with the
You didn't
Bill
even tell him about
Alfonso, Barry
Fonzie being
Harwood.
with. I was saying Alfonso being on here, and
Yeah. And actually, I'm working on another ECW original for a future episode too. I'm not going to stooge it off right now. I'll wait till we get a confirmation. But yeah, we're just we're making things happen. And we do have a guest next week, Menders, or next episode.
yeah,
We
you
don't
got to
do
send me
these.
homework for this one too.
Yeah. For anybody that knows the Chicago Indies, Paulie Tomaselli, one of the regulars up there, is going to be joining us on the next episode. Formerly 1/3 of the Iron Saints tag team with his brother Vito and Sal Tomaselli.
Okay.
And yeah, he should have some good stories because he's also been on the Booker side of it with Elite Pro Wrestling. And
Nice.
so we're looking forward to that. Okay, AJ, I think AJ's giddy. That was really fun to listen to. And we got a million questions. Yeah.
I know
Well,
that was the
well,
thing.
thank
Like
you.
he would just keep talking, and I was like, I'm not going to interrupt him because I'm loving where this is
No, just let
going.
him go.
So I'm not going to
Oh
interrupt
yeah.
him.
Oh yeah. I've still got so much more stuff I want to know. So we
Yeah.
gotta make that we gotta get him back on. Or I don't know, maybe there's another podcast in the in the future. You never know. Maybe.
You never
But
know. I'm telling you,
you
stories
never
from the
know.
road.
Yeah, there you go. Uh yeah, so let's move on to our regular business. Actually,
I was going to
we're
say, I'm
doing
like,
pretty
wait,
good
what
for
are we
time.
going to
It's
talk
not
about
bad.
now? Because I'm just like
Uh
giddy.
I don't have a picture, but should we talk about how Becky Lynch is missing a portion of her elbow now?
Oh, I told you
See
I
that
missed Raw
picture
last
of
night. I did. I've not seen it. Hold on, I'll look it
during
up.
the match on Saturday, she got a little bit of a boo boo on that elbow of hers. I'm not going to put the picture up because it's gross, but
Okay.
so I'll let Menders find
Okay.
it.
Let me find it.
think Barry
Becky
might have
Lynch
put
boo
that
boo.
in the chat.
I'm gonna put boo boo.
Boo
You
boo
think I'm
Becky.
kidding? I actually put Becky
I believe
Lynch
you.
boo boo. Yeah, it's not working out so great.
Hang on, let me.
Yeah, it didn't work. All right, so Becky Lynch elbow.
Yeah, Becky Lynch elbow. I think it might be on our Instagram too, but yeah. So while you're doing that, I'm going to just throw this out there.
Ouch! Ouchie!
Oh, you found it? Yeah, right?
Yeah. Ouchie.
So the last episode before this one, 2 weeks ago, we did our first ever fantasy supercard, which was a lot of fun with the ECW versus AEW talent.
See, I thought
We
you were
will
going to at
be
least
doing.
tell him his match. We should have at least told Justin
You,
his match.
he didn't have a match.
I thought he was in the. I thought we had the Impact guys in the tag match.
No, that was the Eliminators.
Oh, that's right. Okay, good. I'm glad I
Yeah.
didn't keep pushing then.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to be doing our second fantasy supercard on Halloween night on Tuesday, October 31st. It should not the next episode, but the one after that. And we're going to be focusing on kind of the era we were talking about with Justin, the 97 to 99 Attitude Era, and we're going to be doing WWF versus WCW for that one. So we gotta get the brain trust together and book some matches and figure out what we're doing with that one there, Menders.
We don't have any. It's going to have to be on the chat because I don't think we have any shows that are coming up that everybody's going to be. Won't be in a car booking this time.
Well, we can. I was going to say we can do it at Burger King on the 21st.
That's true. We could.
But
God. All right, so we got Attitude
I
Era.
was expecting a snarky comment in the chat from somebody. Yeah, so that's
Which
what we got
one?
coming up on the 31st. We got to get some of these hybrid guys on board for an interview, Menders. I know we got a few.
I'll see what I can do Saturday.
Yeah. Hey, Menders, you know what's coming up in April that they just announced some details on?
What's that? What did I miss? Oh yeah.
Squared
it's in
Circle
March.
Expo 4.
It's in March.
What?
It's in March, isn't it? It's the last weekend of March. Why are you saying? Now you've got me all sorts of confused.
Do double check. And next spring, they're bringing back the Squared Circle Expo to Indianapolis. This coming
Do you
spring.
think we get Edge? Can we please get Edge at Squared Circle Expo?
You know,
please.
I won't be surprised. I would love it if Edge and Christian were both there doing a photo op.
That'd be awesome.
Do a 5-second pose.
That'd be great.
You can do your own 5-second pose with Edge and Christian.
Don't.
You're turning into your shirt.
I am.
Am I threatening you with a good time, Menders?
You are threatening me with a good time. March 29th and 30th. Ha! I was right.
Okay. You're right. Okay. Well, it's pretty much April.
Yeah, basically.
But anyway, we're going back again. Tickets go on sale on the 20th of October. I forget what time exactly, but
11 p.m. our time or 11 a.m. our time.
Not p.m.
Not p.m. a.m.
No. So
it's noon. It's noon Eastern.
Noon Indiana time. Yeah.
Yep.
But man, it's such a this will be my third time going. I know it's going to be your second.
My second.
It's such a fucking good time.
It
going
is.
To the expo.
Well, and it's like even we were talking ECW, sitting there and listening to the panel when it was Shane Douglas and
Nova, Blue Meanie, Francine.
Francine, Sandman. It was so fun. And then to sometimes just like even Mick, that was where I met Mick and Mick Foley. And he sat there and talked to me for a few minutes and and then of course Uncle Fred. We all loved Uncle Fred.
Oh, so cool. I'm just beyond honored that he let me wear the Shockmaster helmet for a picture.
Like I said, he was one of my dad's favorites when I was growing up. So that was a big deal to me to meet Uncle Fred.
Yeah.
So.
And the big one for me, of course, was Tito Santana.
Tito,
he was my first ever favorite wrestler. Jimmy Hart was awesome. So many cool people at the
Well, and I
expo
did
last
get to meet
year.
MJF, and he was nice to me.
By that, you mean he just threw your merchandise at you instead of
No, he didn't throw it at
away.
me. He set it down. It was the person in front of me that he threw it at.
Okay. I mean, if
and
you wanted to be a dick, he'd just throw it across the room.
He did. One of the people he did, because I think it was a Darby action figure.
Oh. Suppose he didn't put it in a headlock takeover before he threw it.
Nope, he didn't. No, he didn't do that.
Was that before or after he yelled at the baby?
That would have been just in between. He yelled at the baby, threw the thing, and then was nice to me. So,
okay.
But it could have had something to do with the Cornette shirt I was wearing. Who knows?
That's maybe. That's just something to be said. You make memories at the Squared Circle Expo.
You do. You do.
Just
I got to see you
pissed off Doug Basham.
Yeah. Yep. And then you falling on stage as the Shockmaster. That was entertainment.
I had to.
Oh, or
I,
karaoke the second night when we were all in there
yeah,
with Victoria
yeah.
and
Stacy was rocking the house singing.
oh
And
yeah,
I think she popped Victoria. She was digging it.
yeah. You're right, AJ. You're right. Actually, he called. There was a guy there in a wheelchair, and he told him, "Look out, Hot Wheels." So yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, we did not get to get Barry into the chat for the interview. I'm sorry, buddy. Time
Next one.
ran out.
Next
Hey,
one.
you will see and hear from Jabari Sinclair on Friday, the next episode of Gold Rush. Tentatively planned for Friday evening. If he's down, I am, and we'll be talking Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship OG version 2002 to 2010. So that'll be a good time. Let's see,
Are
what
we
else
gonna
do we
finish?
have?
Did we finish talking about Wrestle Dream?
We got through most of the good stuff there. Did you hear that Jericho's already trademarked a tag team name for him and Kenny?
Oh dear Lord.
The Golden Jets apparently is what he suggested, because they're both from Winnipeg, and the Jets is their hockey team. So
Yeah.
it makes sense.
I
It could have
guess.
been worse. I mean, it's
It
better
could
than
have been
Golden
worse.
Lovers.
What did you think of? What did you think of Ricky Starks' match?
I'm a big fan of Ricky Starks. I mean, Yuta's okay, but it just seemed like it was thrown together.
Yeah, that was my. I actually fast forward through most of it.
I would assume that it was supposed to be Starks and Moxley, but Moxley was hurt.
Yeah,
possibly.
Probably.
Oh
no, that one.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
What else did we leave? Have we not covered on that show? Because I think we got to everything.
I think did we? I can never remember because it always seems like there's like 15 matches.
AJ's up in arms about the name. This is not the Alpha and the Omega, not Snapdragon Judas. Come on, have some creativity here.
Great. Let's see.
Oh my goodness. All right. So we didn't. You said you didn't get to see Raw last night, Menders. I
didn't, but you can fill me in. Yeah.
I feel not a bad show. No Finn last night. He was, I guess, not cleared, or not cleared. Finger quotes. Rio's back.
Good.
Rhea kind of put all the boys in their place.
I heard she said something about because I know, well, it might be going on right now, but Dom is supposed to have a match.
He's got his rematch with Trick Williams tonight, and she pretty much said, "If you don't win the belt, don't come back."
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, mommy. Although I did hear, I was super excited. You did fill me in that, well, kind of super excited that we might be getting DIY back.
Yeah, that was the big finish of last night's show. Spoiler alert, everybody, if you haven't watched the show yet. Number one, fucking fantastic match with Ciampa and Gunther. I knew
it would be.
At very least, watch that, Menders.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. Anything with Ciampa in it, I will watch because I love Ciampa.
I like the idea of DIY being a team once again. I wish they would have waited a bit to bring Gargano back. I thought that there's some more equity in Gunther and Ciampa.
Ciampa's great as a single and
as a heel.
Yes.
As a psycho.
As a psycho killer. Yes.
The man that Corny affectionately calls Johnny Same Face is kind of bringing up the rear in the DIY package. Maybe, I don't know. They're a hell of a team.
When they're together, really they're great. I was gonna say, when they're together, they're great. But
then it's kind of the thing like with Owens and Zayn. It's like they're teaming up, but you're just waiting for the time that one of them turns on the other.
Right.
Because as good as the team is, the feud is better.
Yes, very much so. So when's that going to happen with Sammy and Kevin now? But
I don't know. Probably
it'll happen.
At least have to work. It'll happen eventually, but hopefully not for a while. Because I'm tired of getting the runaround. I just want to stick with something for a while. Yeah. I saw a really good suggestion online today. So Cody and Jey Uso were challenging Judgment Day at Payback, Fastlane, whichever
Fastlane.
pay-per-view it is, Fastlane,
Fastlane.
for the tag titles. So
Okay.
somebody threw out the idea that this is all a red herring and Jay's gonna do the Ole Anderson 1980 style heel turn on Cody, and this really slow burn where he never left the bloodline, but
Oh,
and
okay.
then that would get Cody to Roman for Mania.
Okay.
And I read that, and I wish I knew the guy's name. I think it was on the Cornette fan page on Facebook, and I wish I remember the guy's name so I could give him credit. But that was the best idea I've heard for this whole storyline, because because the bloodline thing, it's getting a little bit wonky,
Stale.
you know.
Yeah, stale.
But Jay is he's Tully Blanchard said something about the Horsemen back in the day. He said that if you have Dynamite, you got to have like the TNT, you got to have the match, but then you got to have the blasting cap. The blasting cap's what makes everything blow up. Jay is the blasting cap for the Bloodline. Like Tully was saying, he was the blasting cap for the Horsemen. So if Jay winds up back with the Bloodline, it's going to be nuclear.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the people don't like getting screwed around and giving their heart and soul to a baby face only to have them piss on them and
Yeah.
go back with the family. And
I,
I'm not a fan of the Usos being separated. I mean, if they are, I'm glad they're doing it on separate shows.
yeah, right. Yeah, I agree.
I could see this being a pay-per-view. Maybe Jimmy screwing Jay over out of the tag titles at the pay-per-view.
Possibly. You know,
Another
we're going to
little
have a
wrinkle
really.
to get Cody to Roman.
So that's what's happening. So we're going to have a very excited 6-year-old on our hands.
Is that one co-conspirator in the raffle drawing?
Yes, my co-conspirator.
Shout out to
'Cause
Lincoln.
if-
He's a good kid.
He is. If he gets to see I know they're going. So if he gets to see Cody again, he's going to be
Yeah.
super excited.
Yeah. AJ he's dead set in his mind
He's dead set on this happening.
that Roman Reigns is going to break Bruno's record for title reign. I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, you realize we're all going to have to eat crow other than AJ when it actually comes true, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I could see them holding it through the next WrestleMania after this one, just so he can beat Hogan's record.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's got to eventually. Cody.
Well,
this
let me
is
throw
Cody's
this at
time
you.
for
Who would
WrestleMania.
you put it on, though? Cody?
Cody. Oh, it's got to be Cody. Cody's got to finish his story, you know.
I know, but
It's not going to be The Rock.
well, we know that. Duh.
I'll tell you this though. I know who needs to take the belt off of Seth. Gunther.
Yeah, I agree.
Gunther. That's why I'm okay if at some point Gable or Ciampa or whoever takes the belt off of Gunther, because you know he's going to be right in that heavyweight championship mix.
Well, here's the problem. Now that they put Ciampa back with Gargano, it's not going to be Ciampa.
Could be Gable though, and I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay
Okay.
with Gable after the banger match they had a couple weeks ago. Yes, I would be fine with Gable.
Barry, hot take. You feel Shinsuke's going over Sunday,
Okay.
and I'd be okay with that too. I like Shinsuke.
Yeah.
This is the best Shinsuke I've seen since he was in New Japan.
Yeah, this has been the Shinsuke. Well, did you watch much of him in NXT?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure because that was when I figured out who Shinsuke was, and him and Sami Zayn, their fights. This is the best Shinsuke I've seen.
Of course, I'd seen Shinsuke. Number one, there's a match from Tokyo Dome in 2016, him and AJ Styles, that is a must watch. This is like a couple weeks before AJ debuted at the Rumble.
Okay.
But that was like his last weekend with New Japan before he left.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a title match. Shinsuke went over. Just awesome. And he was like, every era of New Japan has like their four main guys that they build the company around. And there was a period where it was Tanahashi, Okada, Nakamura, and AJ for like a couple of years, 14 to 16. Nowadays, it's like you throw Ospreay, you throw Naito in there. It could be anybody. But there's always that Mount Rushmore kind of thing. It's like All Japan did the same thing with the four pillars: Kobashi, Taue, Kawada, Misawa.
Yeah.
I know you have no idea who I'm talking about here, Menders, and I'm
You're
sorry,
right.
but
Well, some of them sound very familiar. Some of them do sound familiar
yeah,
because,
I'm
you know,
I'm kind of Japan-splaining.
yeah, you're Japan-splaining to me.
I like what I did there. I'm so proud of myself. All
Of
right.
course you are.
Hey, hey, Menders, we are really cooking. What do you say we get to our usual business that we do on Tuesdays?
Let's do it because we might actually get out of here before the 3-hour mark.
Yeah? All right. So it is time for the JTR Hall of Fame. Let me get my graphic up here. There we go. There it
Yay!
is. And we're adding another manager to the list, Menders. We've already got the Brain, we got Sherry, Jimmy Hart, Cornette, by extension due to the Midnight's being in there. But
Right.
but we're gonna throw another one in here, and it's one of our favorites,
Mhm.
the ever lovable and cuddly Captain Louis Albano. Look at that guy. Never got why he had rubber bands hanging out of his face,
I
but
didn't either.
uh, I came to know and love Captain Lou from the Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling cartoon
Yep. That
because
was,
he was kind of winding down his run by that
yep.
point, but little did I know until a few years later he was one of the most hated heel managers in basically in wrestling.
Right.
And before that, he was a heel wrestler. He was one half of the Sicilians tag team. And
It,
there's a story that they used to wear fedoras and white gloves, and they would whisper "mafia" to each other in the ring. And then some of the Italian legitimate businessmen in the New York area didn't care for that, so they were asked politely to cease and desist that. So
oh,
they got rid of the white glove and they stopped saying "mafia" to each other, and they kept going as the Sicilians, and everything was good.
everything's fine now.
Everything's fine. Uh, early, I think he retired from active wrestling in like 1971. That's when he became a manager. And he started with a bang though. He was managing Ivan Koloff when he beat
Yeah.
Bruno. Speaking AJ of Ivan broke Bruno's 8 years title reign
Yep.
in Madison Square Garden. Bruno thought he went deaf because the crowd was completely silent when he counted the three.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, so Lou back then just Lou Albano. He wasn't Captain Lou yet. That didn't happen till a few years later. So he started his reputation as being a manager of champions because every championship, intercontinental title, world title, women's championship with Moolah, I
Mhm.
think, and then of course I think 15 tag team championship reigns under the good captain. And
Wow.
I'm gonna run down the list of these tag teams here, Menders. I'm kind of winging it a little bit, but I think I got them all
No,
right.
not us. We're never winging it.
All right. So first off, the Valiant brothers, Jimmy and Johnny. You know the Boogie
Mhm.
Woogie Man,
Yep.
handsome Jimmy. The Blackjacks, of course, Blackjack Lanza, Blackjack Mulligan,
Yep.
or Grandpa Blackjack, if you're
Grandpa Blackjack.
Bo Dallas. The Executioners, number one and number two. Uh,
Who was that?
I think that was Kowalski and Big John Studd, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. I think. Actually, you know what? I can tell you. Uh, let's see. Oh, Wikipedia is kayfabing me. So, so we'll just say Executioner 1 and Executioner 2.
Okay.
Uh, let's see here. The Yukon Lumberjacks. Yukon Eric and Yukon Pierre. So one of those guys is French. Uh, Valiant Brothers again.
They were probably from Canada. Probably from Quebec.
Probably Canada. Wild Samoans.
Yeah,
Probably the greatest of his tag teams.
I love
Offensika
the
three
Wild
times.
Samoans.
The Moondogs, Rex and King, and then later Rex and Spot. I think they did the Freebird rule, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, wore their dungarees and brought big rawhide bones with them to the ring. It's good stuff. Fuji and Mr. Saito, a couple times, and then Samoans again. Then when he turned babyface, the U.S. Express, which is Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo. I think I have a picture. There we go.
There you go.
Look at those clean-cut fellas there.
Good Lord.
And then the British Bulldogs. You see them there.
My boys. Look at Dynamite.
Yes, and after the Bulldogs, he retired while they were champions, so he walked away from the company. Came back in 1994 and managed the Head Shrinkers along with Alpha, Fatu, and Samu. And they beat
Why
the
did they change them
Quebecers,
to the Head Shrinkers? Why didn't they just make them stay
the
the
new Wild
Samoans?
Samoans.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it doesn't have to be the new. That's a kiss of death. Just be the Wild Samoans again, because they were doing the exact same gimmick Alpha and Sika were doing. And Samu was one of the Wild Samoans in the 80s when they had Wild Samoan number 3.
Yeah. So it's like, come on, guys.
Just
keep it the Wild Samoans.
Yeah, don't fix what ain't broke. Come on. Yeah. Oh, if you want to see a good picture of the Moondogs, let me find it here. There you go. Apparently Lou's arm is lunch.
Apparently.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's the
geez.
Samoans. Look at
There
those
they
guys. That's a handsome trio, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And along with all the tag teams, I love my Tito Santana, but after Tito, my favorite Intercontinental Champion was The Rock, Don Morocco, the Magnificent Morocco.
Yeah.
Lou had a knack for getting guys over that he was like, as he was managing them as heels and getting them over as baby faces.
Yep.
Most notably Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah.
Because
I remember when he was managing for Snuka.
Yep, and the Samoans wound up turning on him, turning babyface at some point. But eventually he got into after he turned babyface, he was pretty much the only babyface manager they had, so he managed everybody.
Right.
He
Right.
managed, like, even right there, look, he's managing Andre and Hillbilly Jim.
I would say I forgot about Hillbilly.
Yeah, managed Hogan sometimes through the ring, JYD.
Well, and then of course he was in Cyndi Lauper's video.
Oh yeah, there you
There you go.
is. Yeah, he was a big part of that Rock and Wrestling Connection in the mid '80s, and then of course we all know him as Mario
Right.
on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And that's the only reason I ever watched the show, because I didn't care for the cartoon, but it was Captain Lou, so
I know,
good.
right? Yeah.
Oh, somebody else he escorted to the ring once, Minders. The Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne.
Wow.
He doesn't
Cyndi
know it.
Lauper to the Prince of Darkness. Wow.
Have you
That's
watched
awesome.
WrestleMania 2, Minders?
I'll have to go back. It's been
If anything, watch that match. The Dream Team of Valentine and Beefcake against, I said Beefcake against the British Bulldogs.
Beefcakes.
But Ozzy is in their corner with Captain Lou, stoned out of his mind. He is in La La Land in that match. They gave him. He was carrying a microphone to the ring. I think he thought he was going to sing.
And they forgot to turn it on.
Forgot to turn it on.
Yeah,
But
I was going to say forgot to turn it on.
And after the match, he cuts a rambling, incoherent promo.
No.
I don't think he knew who the Bulldogs were. I think he just thought he was there for a payday.
AJ.
Do bats have nightmares about Ozzy? I bet they do. That's why Sting never deals with him. AJ also chimed in. Speaking of Masawa, Masawa was a bad motherfucker, though. He sure was. I was always more of a Kobashi guy, but Masawa,
Rock and roll forever, British Bulldogs.
Forever. Oh yeah, that was pretty much the promo. In his salmon pink suit. Look at that. Sharon lets him leave the house like that?
Oh, hey, that was 80s. Come on now. You saw some of the stuff people were wearing in the 80s.
It
was scary.
True. Very true.
Some of it was real scary.
Yeah, but no, the good captain, very well deserving of a Hall of Fame induction from us. So, of course, it will be post-mortem, post-posthumous.
Yep.
He passed on, I think, in 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
Really
Uh,
been that long? Holy cow!
I think. Let me see.
As we
Wikipedia is
both
never
go to.
wrong.
Right.
Let's
Let's
see.
see.
But yeah, it was a while ago. Okay,
Not
it's not
you.
that.
You're wrong.
Was I wrong?
October 14th, 2009.
Oh, I was close.
You're close.
AJ chiming in. Sharon had already seen so much shit by that point. She
Probably.
didn't give a damn what he. Pretty much.
He's got a point.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. Hey, something I saw that was really cool, Menders. Apparently in Amarillo, Texas, they have
I
made a
did see
mural
this.
of the great Terry Funk, and that thing
Yeah,
doesn't that look great? That looks awesome.
it looks awesome.
Yeah, I kind of want to make a pilgrimage to go see it now.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I just about said maybe we need to take a road trip. So
All 5. We could book like 4 fantasy supercards on that.
we could.
Your mom has to be willing to part with her van for about a week.
She'd have my car. It'd be fine.
That's true.
You all would have to want to sit in the van for that long, though.
That's very true. Just strap me to the roof. I'll be fine. All right. And so, since we got the Hall of Fame out of the way, what do you say we move on to the next thing, Menders? We are really rolling right now.
We are. Let's keep this going because
All right.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, ready? All right, here we go. All right, I love that mariachi trumpet solo.
Oh, AJ.
Oh, AJ. Do I dare put this up, Menders?
Go ahead. Go
All right.
ahead. I ever
AJ,
tell
when is
y'all?
Ozzy for Halloween?
There you go. Once, when I was a kid, I had a plastic bat with a head halfway cut off, and I'd ring the doorbell and say trick or treat and bite the bat's head off.
That's commitment. I respect that.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, it is time for Top 10 Tuesday. And if you can tell by the championship belt to my right, right, yes, our list is going to encapsulate the greatest Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. Because
And I'm going to do my best here because Ring of Honor
and
wasn't.
I'm just counting on you. I'm counting on you to comment on these guys' careers after the Ring of Honor run, because all these teams have somebody you've heard of. But it's basically in observance of MJF winning a handicap match to retain the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships this past Sunday.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's get to it. Number 10, and I'm gonna warn you, Menders, I put these guys on here just for virtue of how many times they held the championships.
I already know who it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I tried to pick the most ridiculous picture of them, though.
Yeah, I appreciate that, I guess.
I think you need a jumpsuit like that, Menders, with like all of our faces on it.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't think I do.
Yeah, but look at that. They got the Ring of Honor titles, the IWGP Junior titles, and I believe that's the PWG. Yep, that's PWG Tag Championship. So they were basically in all of the promotions they had a hand in booking.
You know, well, shocker. You know what though? They were the biggest thing for a while. They were.
Yeah, it's true.
But now, well,
they're not even the best tag team in their faction.
No, they're not. And people can hate on me for it and say I'm being mean or whatever, but it just looks so planned, and it kills me.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks, except for when they actually do mess something up. And hey, like I said, they were a great tag team. Like AJ's saying there, you know, they did have it that many times. I agree. They've
made an assload of money.
They've made a lot of money. But just not my thing.
Doesn't mean we have to like them, but you can respect their accomplishments.
I can respect what they've done, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah. All right. Well, less said about the Bucks, the better.
Yep,
number 9. All right, probably the most recent team on this list here, the Foundation, which was Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. I really enjoyed this tag team.
Well, you have a beast there with Jonathan Gresham. You have a
And then
beast with Jay Lethal.
yeah,
Come on.
you got maybe all due respect to Sabre Jr. Danielson, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, along with just one of the best wrestlers in the world in a tag
Right.
team.
Gresham is so good. And
He's
I got lucky enough to see him down at 01.
yeah, he actually
Man.
lost to Joey O'Gunn or Joey O'Reilly.
He did, but yeah, it was really neat.
That was a good
It
match, though.
was
I remember watching that match.
Yeah, it was really like I said, Gresham is just
Yeah. Imagine
he's
if he teamed up with
ridiculous.
his wife now, him and
Right?
Jordan Grace.
Let them do it. Go for it.
I'll bet she carried him over the threshold when they got married.
Probably. Well, I saw her at 01 too. She got in the ring with Jake Lander. She beat him up for a
Oh
little
boy.
bit, but he won. So
Damn it. Did you pay money to see that?
that one I did because I didn't know who Jake Lander was at that point. So I
But you knew
paid to
who
see
Jordan Grace
everybody.
was.
I didn't know who anybody was.
Oh, okay. Were you still a newbie at 01?
I was a noob. I was a super noob. I think
Yep.
when I
AJ finished echoing what you were saying there.
yeah.
Yep.
Because Joey and Gresham, because it's been Joey and Gresham, and then Tanner and Alex Kane. Oh man, yeah. There's been some real good matches, but I
with
digress.
the Foundation, I think they held the titles for like a year.
Oh wow.
AJ helped me out. They had a long run with those belts. That's why they're on the list here. Number 8. You know these guys. Kevin Steen and El
Look
Generico.
at those babies.
I know. Steen in a singlet.
Right? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was a big fan of El Generico back in the day. I like Steen too, obviously, but
well, yeah.
These guys were a good team. And then it's one of those DIY things. It's like we were talking about. Even then they were feuding with each other.
Right.
Like after they split up.
Yeah.
But they held these twice, beat the Age of the Fall, I believe, both times. What I was thinking. Let's see. So yeah, good run. Obviously they parlayed that into wild success in the WWE.
Man, when Steen came in,
Steen did. Generico was helping the orphans in Mexico right now.
Yeah, that's right. But when KO came in, when he first made his debut on NXT, do you remember that?
Oh, I sure do.
Man, I thought he killed Sammy. I thought Sammy was dead. He was
Talk about making a first impression.
Holy crap. And that was just when you learned how quickly they could turn on each other. It was so fun.
Yeah. And didn't Juice break his nose earlier in the night?
Yes.
Juice Robinson?
Yes. Also, well, Juice didn't. CJ Parker did.
Parker. I'm sorry. Yes.
CJ Parker did.
Yes.
But yeah, that was a crazy time. That was like the best NXT, in my opinion, that they've had in a long time.
So good. Yeah.
No, it was CJ Parker, AJ. CJ Parker. It is crazy though. Okay, I'm jumping off the rail. It's crazy to think how popular Juice is now. When knowing how back then it was just like, oh, you're just an enhancement. You're an enhancement talent, dude. Go away. We don't want you here.
The guy busted his ass in Japan and got himself over.
He did. And now that he's back, I'm like, how can these two people be the same person? But then again, that's kind of the same way like Drew McIntyre did.
AJ chiming in. He went home with Tony Storm, who really won at life. Tony might be my favorite thing on AEW right now, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe. And then she flings a fucking shoe at you.
All right, let's get back to it. Sorry, did we go off on a tangent?
A little bit. We've had surprisingly few tangents on this episode.
That's why we're still under 3 hours.
All right. So, number 7. In happier times, Menders.
Jeez.
The Second City Saints. Colt Cabana. Babyface Colt Cabana. And CM Punk and his Steve Corino hair face.
Oh, happier days.
I enjoyed this unit, especially when they had Ace Steel and they were doing the trios also. But I think
Look how
2
few
times.
tattoos that CM
Yeah.
Punk has there.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have the dragon or whatever the fuck it is on his chest at this point.
Right?
But no, I enjoy them as a team. I think they beat the Briscoes for the tag titles. Oh, AJ. I don't judge because, you know,
I don't either. But
I'm a couple short paychecks away from having to do that myself. So. I'm kidding, of course. But that's not. But
well, I actually do share one with my mother because
well, there you go.
we're the only two in the family. So, and we both have a joint account. So,
Right.
but we also each have our own account too.
Right. Yeah, I don't even have a joint account with my wife. But that's by agreement, though. It's,
Right. I get
right.
that.
But and that's all I'll say about that. Less known about me, the better off I feel.
And there you go.
Moving on, number 6, Age of the Fall.
Good Lord.
Look how young Seth Rollins looks. I'm sorry, Tyler Black in this picture.
Right?
I think at this point he was like, what, 22, 23 when these guys won the titles. And then Jimmy
about what he
Jacobs
was.
is so good. Is one of my favorite guys. Very smart, very creative.
Well, isn't he a producer now?
He's on creative with AEW right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's on creative, isn't he?
Yeah. He's worked creative for everybody. He worked WWE, Impact, and AEW. And I probably Ring of Honor too, for that matter.
Probably.
Yeah. But no, he's got a really he helped Jericho come up with the list.
I just had all right. It just hit me. I was like, oh, who's gonna be number 1? And I was like, boing.
Yeah, this one's it's kind of a no-brainer for number 1.
Yeah, so let's keep going. Let's get to number 1.
I didn't know Jimmy Jacobs showed up as 0-1. What do you know? I saw a lot of Jimmy in IWA Mid-South back in the day. So, he's always been one of my faves. Number 5, Austin Aries and Roderick Strong. These guys were tag champs. These guys were tag champs when I started watching Ring of Honor. So,
well, let's see. Austin Aries has also been to 0-1.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ties here. This is kind of interesting.
We should have done this list on the shootout.
Nah. If we start doing a top 10 list on the shootout, we'll never get out of there.
No. No, but these guys are such a good tag team. They matched well together. They were also obviously really good singles wrestlers. Mm-hmm. But they really did something a lot of tag teams don't do so well is they fused their individual moves together and made them into combos. Like
that's nice.
Like Aries would do the brainbuster, but Roddy would chop him before he'd drop him. I didn't mean to rhyme there.
Yes, you did.
Then Roddy would do the backbreaker, setting up for the 450, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, AJ. Oh, Austin Aries. He says the best thing about him is that he's Austin Aries. The worst thing about him is that he is Austin Aries. I love Roddy. I still think that they ruined Roddy in AEW. I know he's getting an
baby
over,
now.
He's a bitch, is what he is.
Well, I was trying to be nice. Although I guess we're kind of past that after some of the things we've heard tonight. Which I did not care because I thought it was great.
Yes, it was so good. All right. Number 4, maybe my second favorite tag team on this list. Kings of Wrestling.
There they are. Claudio with hair.
Claudio with hair. He wasn't quite as ripped as he is now, but he was still just as strong back then.
He's still a beast. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Great team. I love Hero. He's one of my top 5 indie guys ever. He's also working as a producer in AEW now.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him move up into
come back,
kick old Uter out of the club. Maybe
Did you just call him Uter?
Did I?
Just call him Uter?
I wasn't planned, but I guess I did.
Oh, you just
I feel bad calling him useless. I'm not mean like corny.
Just call him Wheeler. Then you just Go past all of it. You don't have to worry about it.
I don't know. I kind of think I have to.
Oh,
I kind of think we have to call him Uter now.
AJ's throwing heat.
We need to see an AEW in there with FTR Kingdom and the Righteous. There you go.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Not for nothing. The Kingdom is an honorable mention in this list.
Nah.
They did not make the top 10, but
Mm,
they're very good though.
yes.
OG Kingdom when it was Cole, Bennett, and Taven. But Bennett and Taven were the tag champs. Excuse me. All right, number 3. Another 0-1 guy, Davey Richards,
Yep.
along with Eddie Edwards, the American Wolves. I love this team when they first showed up. And if you would have told me then, and this is, I'm talking 2009, that Eddie Edwards would be the star out of this team, I would have said you were nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, Davey was damn good, but in the long run, like with Impact, Eddie was the one that got the world titles and got all the big spots. Oh, AJ
Yeah.
says the Kingdom held the 6-man titles more than the tag belts. That's true. They were only like 2-time tag champs, but and the Kingdom that held the trios title was Taven Bennett or Taven Vinny and TKO Ryan when they were like the new Kingdom.
Mm,
So not quite the same, but that's all
close enough.
right. The Wolves were the closest thing ROH ever had to the British Bulldogs, pretty much.
I was gonna say the Wolves
A lot of influence.
when I started catching ROH, this was the tag. Actually, it was them going against each other. Was when
Yeah.
I started watching some of the ROH stuff. So
Yeah, we're talking like
that-
2011-ish when
yeah,
Eddie had beaten Roderick for the world title, then Davey beat Eddie for it. But
Yeah.
they stayed friends. It was just rivalry. It was like a friendly competition kind of thing. But anyway, really good. If you ever get a chance, watch the ladder match they had with Steen and Generico,
okay.
if you can find it. If you can't find it, I got it on DVD somewhere in the house. But that's the one Eddie wrestled that match with a broken elbow.
Oh
Because
wow.
he broke his arm the night before, but he still, yeah, still did the whole match. Yep, the Wolves had a match in NXT, didn't get signed. I remember that match. They lost to the Ascension when they were like
that was when the Ascension was cool.
Yeah, but yeah, they
I
had
missed
their
that
shot there.
Ascension.
Then I guess Impact must have backed up the Brinks truck to him and got him in because I'm trying to remember. That might have math. Yeah, that was before they went to TNA. It was kind of, it all kind of runs together.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2. This is a team that I wish we could see back in AEW. Red Dragon, Fish and O'Reilly. I know we'll see O'Reilly again at some point. Fish is not there. And I don't want to see the Undisputed Era reform again. That's shit got old. I want to see Red Dragon as a
You
tag
didn't
team.
like the Undisputed Era?
I did, but I don't want to see AEW rehash an act from NXT. I want to see them do something friggin' original.
Everything
What?
they've been doing is rehashed. Everything.
I know. I'm tired of it. It's like, what, Florida Tony? Do something original. I don't think so,
Okay.
guys.
He wore that hat. That's what he did that was original.
And this is our reaction to that hat.
He's like, yeah.
Whee!
Whee! I still can't believe how much I got that over the other day.
Oh, yes.
That was great. Anyway,
AJ, we did not get Red Dragon versus
didn't.
FTR. It's a friggin' crime. Not even in NXT.
nope,
Wait, come on.
we didn't because
Oh, wait, or did we? We might have, in the build up to the Survivor Series, when the NXT and all them, I think they had a match on NXT
okay, I'm gonna go back and look.
in 2017. Was that the year that
17,
they did that?
18, somewhere in there.
Look up NXT, like in the build up, like in November. I think they had a match. Now I have to go back and watch it again, just in case, because I don't remember the match. But
NXT.
I hope this isn't getting the way we're trying to figure out who our number 1 is, Menders.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Disputed Era versus.
suspense
They
is
would have been the
killing me.
Revival.
Yes, it was the Revival then. about the edge of
Let's
my
see,
seat.
did we get it? There was. The Revival last shot at Undisputed Era. Let's see. When? November 20th of 2019.
Ooh. All right.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Now I got to go back and find that match again.
Yep, November 20th, 2019. WWE NXT Undisputed Era versus The Revival.
Nice. So that's your homework, people. Go back and watch that match.
I will go back and
All right.
watch that, dang it.
All right.
AJ.
Oh. Well, I got some bad news for you, AJ. It's the Briscoes, number one.
You don't get to riot.
Look at
I mean,
those
come
young
on.
punks there.
I was going to say, come on. How could it not be? How could it not?
Yeah. And not only that, I think they've held every version of the tag team championship belts that they had, except for the most recent ones.
Obviously.
But they're on the most recent ones. Like on the plates, they've got the Briscoes
Oh,
on
are
them.
they?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. They did a full-on tribute to the Briscoes there.
Look at Bari. He's just bragging.
That was my birthday.
It was his birthday. When Undisputed Era and Revival fought on NXT.
That was his birthday present.
Listen to you brag.
My birthday was still around SummerSlam time when we were kids, at the end of August.
I was
think
always
the,
during the 2 weeks that they did the year rehash.
You gotta
I
let
always
that
got
year
the
in review.
replays on my birthday.
Yeah, I think the first SummerSlam was on my birthday. I think the Brett Bulldog match was the cage match, Brett and Owen, I think, was on my birthday. I didn't watch any of them live, don't get me wrong, because my dad wouldn't pay for a pay-per-view. But
Right.
I'm not going to fault him for that because I got to see it all later when I could appreciate it.
Oh, AJ.
Let's see.
AJ's
All
doing
right.
research for us again.
It would behoove you. Oh, big words. It would behoove you to go to YouTube and look up the deep dive on the Briscoes versus FTR feud. Someone went and put together all the promos they cut on each other that never made the air, plus all their matches. Damn. AJ, you're going to need to send me a link in our little group chat so I can get that. All right. Well, Menders, that concludes our Top 10 Tuesday. What do you say we pay some bills and we're going to get out of here right around 8 o'clock?
I'm so proud of us.
There's still playoff baseball to be watched on the television,
Oh,
which
there
will
is?
thrill my wife to no end.
Who's still in it? I don't even know who's still around.
None of my teams are still in it, but there's still baseball.
There's NXT tonight.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that from the beginning, though.
And get
But,
ready for AEW tomorrow.
Yes, we got ready for our the Zero Shootout tomorrow, Menders.
Yes.
We're going to be joined by the new guys, Jake Bosch and Scott Stanley, I believe is what he changed the name to.
Yes. I cannot wait for you to see their
Don't tell me
match
he's
from
changing his name every week.
No. But I cannot wait for you to
No,
see
I
their
was-
match last week.
Oh no, I'll be getting on the Patreon tomorrow and checking that out.
I'm probably going to go back and rewatch it just because I was getting Mindy at a couple times.
Yeah,
And I kind of want to see what all made TV and what didn't. So,
yeah. Oh my goodness. I think I accidentally deleted Tony Icarus off of here. I gotta put that back up before the next episode. Let's pay the bills here, Menders, before we get out of here. ProWrestlingTees.com/JTRPod. It looks like in the picture, it looks like TommyDreamer.com/JTRPod in the address.
it does.
But that is not what it is. It is ProWrestlingTees.com/JTRPod. For all your Jumping the Rail t-shirt needs, here's just a small sampling of them. Between the two of us, Menders, we have all of them but two. I don't have the two on the top. Yeah, the two on the top left we don't have. But
Oh yeah, that's right.
all
I don't
kinds
have
of
those
good
yet.
ones there. Yeah.
I say
If you're a
I
fan
think
of
I have.
Zero One,
I have all of them except for the Prodigy. Well, other than the two we said, I have all those shirts except for the Prodigy.
Yeah. When's that one coming, Menders?
I gotta get paid again, Reb.
Well, you know what? Instead of that, why don't you get this one? It's the new version.
Hey, you
back
know
before.
what? You could get me something for my birthday.
There you go. Yeah. So that's just a small smattering of what you can get on PWTs. Brainbustertees.com/other/JTR-podcast-network for even more stuff from the Jumping the Rail podcast, 01 Shootout, Gold Rush, t-shirts, hoodies, caps, stickers, fanny packs.
Do we have
We're
zip-ups
working
yet?
on getting. We got zip-ups available now. Well, we got one for the shootout. I'm working on figuring out the design for one for this show. But now we
Nice.
do have zip-up hoodies available. Very exciting. And then also for our friend Gary Vasilio, get the Bearded Dragon t-shirt. This thing is sharp looking. Hopefully we'll have Gary back sometime in the very near future.
I'm
But until
hoping. I
then,
miss Gary.
he's here in spirit. He was in the chat. He was
I did
listening
see
to
him
the
in the
interview.
chat.
So
Yep.
good to see Gary in the chat there. A reminder next week, or I keep saying next week. I'm used to the shootouts weekly. This one's not.
Right?
2 weeks. Paulie Tomaselli going to be joining us for an interview, so we're looking forward to that one. And then the episode after that will be our second fantasy supercard that we talked about. So we'll be doing that on Halloween. You never know. Maybe we'll have some more Halloween hijinks to think of before then.
We shall see, because don't forget that's the week before that I won't be around. So
Oh yeah, you're going to be in Dirty Vegas, and
hopefully
before that.
I'll be in Dirty Vegas. Oh, doctor's appointment tomorrow. If anybody
fingers
cares.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Yeah, and you did say you're going to get me a co-host for the shootout, right?
Yeah,
For that week.
yeah. I got you covered.
And I'm going to be okay. Somebody I'm going to be okay with.
Yeah.
They're not going to try to big league me or anything. They know how it goes and all that.
You'll be fine.
Okay. I trust you.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, Menders, I think it's time to bid adieu. So until next episode, for Menders, this is Rev. Remind you all, life is hard, work stiff, and
Thanks, guys. Back to you.